Now, to fully understand the absurdity of McKee's existence, we have to understand her backstory. So, she was originally a slave on a colony world with this random boy, but don't worry, he's beaten to death for reading a book with McKee. But before she's killed in turn, the Covenant drops in and saves her. Plot convenience, eat your damn heart out. Okay, two major problems here. Firstly, the slavery. Like established before, the outer colonies don't know that the Covenant exists, but the outer colonies were the first to be discovered and fall, since they were further away from Earth than the inner colonies in the normal timeline. And considering that McKee and Jimmy look the same age in the present, this is probably happening while Jimmy is still in training. So either this is an outer colony, which makes the idea that they don't know what the Covenant is even stupider than it was before, or the UNSC is running slave operations across the galaxy. And one of those is gonna make me really mad. Secondly, why did they take McKee with them? I know the Luminary pointed towards her, but still, the Covenant see humanity as parasites that need to be exterminated, so her even setting foot on High Charity would be considered an act of heresy, and these two would be lynched for bringing what the Covenant sees as a cockroach into their holy city. Anyways, she's taken onto High Charity and raised by the prophets for a few decades, and once we get to the modern day, she sends a group of elites to Madrigal to go find the Keystone. You did not mishear me. She is somehow controlling Covenant troops, and the Covenant religion is somehow still intact. If you aren't a Halo nerd, which you are probably not, the Covenant religion is based off the belief that the Covenant are reclaiming Forerunner technology in an attempt to find the Halo rings, which in their minds will ascend them to godhood like the Forerunners. But there's simply one big problem with all of that. The first prophets of the Covenant made a translation error. Reclamation was mistaken as Reclaimer, and the way they figured this out is when one of their luminaries led them to a human colony instead of a Forerunner artifact. And when the current prophets, Truth, Mercy, and Regret, went to their Forerunner AI in High Charity and asked what the fuck was happening, they were told that the artifacts belonged to humanity, not the Covenant. The thousands of years of sacrifices and billions of lives lost were completely meaningless, if the rest of the Covenant figured this out. So to prevent this from leaking, the humans were deemed as parasites and were to be killed on sight. But everybody in the Covenant seems to be aware of McKee, so the fact that the wide majority of them aren't questioning the Great Journey is astounding to me. Anyways, after Madrigal, she interrogates the surviving elite and learns about Jimmy Rings activating the artifact. She then speaks to the prophets and they want the Keystone really badly, so she offers to go retrieve it for them. And to make the deal even better, she'll go kill the demon, and for some fucking reason, they allow her to go get it.
Why? 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 Why, oh god fucking why?
She is the only person in the Covenant that can access these artifacts, and you want to send her, of all people, to retrieve an artifact from the humans? Like, if she dies on this mission, the Covenant is fucked. To their knowledge, she is the only one besides Jimmy who can activate artifacts. And Jimmy is a Spartan, so it's not like he's gonna help them willingly. Why not send a group of zealots, or hell, the Spec Ops elites from Halo Evolution to get the job done? Oh, wait a second, we're in the Silver Timeline, where logic and basic reasoning skills don't fucking exist. She then takes a Corvette into slipspace until she encounters a UNSC ship and pretends to be a survivor of a Covenant attack, luring the ship in before boarding it with a bunch of hunter worms and slaughtering everyone on board before looking around the ship only to find fuck all. So she returns to Madrigal where, I'm not even screwing with you, she receives a vision on where to find the artifact by touching the walls of the fucking cave where the artifact was. And to make things even worse, she is shown the exact location of where the artifact is. Ignoring all of that dumb fuckery, the Covenant attacks Eridanus 2 and manages to take one of the Keystones, because apparently there needed to be a second one of these, but on McKee's orders, they rough her up a bit before launching her at the feet of Jimmy Rings, her passing out seconds later before the UNSC captures her. So, where do you think the UNSC takes her? Is it A, Madrigal, B, Reach, C, Harvest, or D, Sanghelios? If you picked B, congratulations. The UNSC picks by far the dumbest option they could possibly take. In Halo, Reach is the most important human colony next to Earth because it's where the UNSC gets most of its resources to build their ships, weapons, and everything. The big reason Reach falling was so important is because if it goes down, humanity would be completely screwed. And in this show, they decide to take what they think to be a Covenant spy directly to one of their most important planets in the UNSC. And they are none the wiser when she says she will only speak to Jimmy Rings. Not a problem with it whatsoever. Jimmy read the script beforehand and asked why he should trust McKee, and she responds that he's like her. And after some banter, Miranda runs some tests on her, and they figure out her claims about activating artifacts is true. Skipping over some more stuff, McKee is shown around Reach. And to emphasize this again, she is a Covenant spy, and the UNSC is suspicious that she is a Covenant spy, which she is. Why are they allowing her to walk around New Alexandria, Reach City? Because the Silver Timeline couldn't fuck this show up any more than it already fucked itself up. Anyways, McKee freaks the fuck out when a dog starts barking at her and shoots an energy blade out of her finger, but she manages to calm herself down, and somehow nobody sees this. Then after that scene, she and Master Cheeks get down and dirty in her prison cell, which I've already talked about in the last video, and afterwards, she goes and rips her nail out containing the energy blade, and for some reason, she doesn't scream like hell when she does this. Later on, Halsey herself contacts McKee through a TV thing in her room and talks about Jimmy before attempting to gaslight her into thinking that she has to get the artifact away from humanity, before some guards come into the room because they heard voices. Skipping some more stuff because way too much shit happens at once, some stuff begins to go down and she runs into a random marine and is brought into the same room as Keyes and Parangoski, where she tries to tell them that the Spartans have turned on Jimmy Rings, only to get laughed at. She then sees the artifact in the room, only for Miranda to bust in and say that she was the one who butchered everyone on the UNSC ship from earlier. She tries to tell them that she had no choice, but one of the soldiers in the room shocks her with an electric stick. And while this happens, she calls out to the artifact in saying Healing, which somehow baffles the guard enough for her to escape his grasp before grabbing the artifact, which releases a shockwave that allows her to escape. Wait a second, what just happened? Like, how the hell did a random woman speaking in this guy's mind gibberish throw him off guard enough for her to escape from his grasp? You are security, shouldn't this be normal? And when did the Keystone get the ability to release shockwaves? Don't give me that bullshit that the Keystone knew that she was in trouble. What Forerunner would go, I think I should put a taser inside my compass that leads directly to the Halo ring? In fact, why the hell would the Foreigners even create a device that leads to Halo? What if the Flood got their hands on it? They would be screwed. So anyways, the artifact takes her and Jimmy to Halo in their minds. Somehow, I guess. Where she tells Jimmy goodbye before leaving the Dream Realm. She then manages to escape Reach with the artifact, off screen no less, and meet up with the Prophets. Wait a second, how did she get off the planet? How was she not nailed by an Archer missile or hell, a Mac round? The situation would have been an appropriate one. Not to mention that McKee probably doesn't know how to fly a human ship. Anyways, she meets up with the Prophets on this planet, and they put the two artifacts together. But, oh no, Silver Team shows up to crash the party, and after she touches the conduit, her and Jimmy are dragged into the Mind Halo again, where they argue for a bit before Kai shoots her in the fucking chest and kills her. Which I would have said if Halo Season 2 didn't happen, where she makes an appearance on Reach at Sword Base to steal the artifact back, along with an elite that the wiki says is the fucking Arbiter. Okay, now that I've calmed down, I could easily say that McKee is everything wrong with this show, and I genuinely feel bad for Charlie Murphy. Her talents were completely wasted, along with everyone else involved with this show, which leads us to the main question of, what happened? The failure of Halo Plus is because of a multitude of reasons. Firstly, the show's development. The production hell that this show went through was far too much for any show to go through, and the fact that it didn't get canceled outright is surprising to me. Secondly, the writing, and this is probably the biggest sin of the show. Remember, none of these bad plot points and character moments would have ever happened if it wasn't for the writing. It just feels like the majority of the writers on the show didn't actually care about Halo as a series, but cared about it as a marketing ploy to draw people in. And it may look like Halo and sound like Halo, it isn't Halo. It's nothing like it. And the final thing that damned this show to failure was how they treated their audience. Instead of treating them like adults, they practically laughed at our intelligence throughout the entire show. Personally, I don't know if Season 2 is going to be any good, but to be completely honest, after the most recent episode, I've completely lost my interest and hope in the series. As of now, I'm going to wait for Helldivers 2 to port over to Xbox so I can help win their war. But while I wait for that... Wait a second! I remember this!